What's up everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'll be building and comparing these two sets here, which are the only two sets that LEGO has released so far that are dedicated to the space theme only. The others are City Space, Friend Space, Technic Space, and so on, but these ones are just space. So that's pretty interesting to see. They're very similar sets with the same price, similar piece counts. This one has slightly less because of the minifigure, so I'll actually start with this one first just because it has the smaller set number, but I'll build both of them, of course, without the instructions, and then I'll let you know my thoughts. Oh, and one good thing for both of these sets is that they use the tape instead of the push tabs, so I wish LEGO would do this more and more. And here's a better look at the minifigure and the scene from this first set, 40715. Surprisingly enough, the set comes with 4 numbered bags, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 and 4 being extremely tiny, which is not really usual to get in LEGO sets, but it's more common these days. So I guess I'll just build them in order and see what we can come up with. There's also instructions without the QR code at the front, so you cannot redeem points for this particular set. And yeah, that's all there is to it. This instruction booklet has 74 pages, and I believe you could build this whole thing using just the box. Is that really true? Let's find out. The minifigure in this set is really great to get. You have the classic space torso, which is always awesome to see, done in white completely, except for the air tanks, which are black. I don't know why they decided that, because I know the white air tanks, they still exist, and you can get them on lego.com at Pick-a-Brick. And in case the face is familiar, it's because this is actually the owner of the gallery for the boutique hotel, so she's now changed careers and she's exploring space after a career in the arts. And here's a comparison with a true classic space minifigure, second generation with the fixed strap helmet, but otherwise completely the same as when these were first released in 1978. So with this minifigure here, you get most of the pieces that you need to create this, if this ever becomes discontinued once again. So you only need to replace the face and the air tanks, otherwise you're all set. And most people are going to have a few of these faces just because there's so many sets that include them throughout the years from 1978 to last year, basically. The air tanks, the white air tanks might go out of stock, so I would get those if I were you. But other than that, the torso, which is the most difficult thing to get, I would guess, like if it gets discontinued, it's good to get one in this set. So I think this is a good figure to get. I'll repeat my same critique from the Alien Space Diner gift with purchase review. I think that if they chose to include this modern face, and there's nothing wrong with this face per se, I think they should have included the classic smiley face here instead of leaving it blank. This way you give people the option. If you want to have a modern face, you can go for it, or if you want the classic face, you also have that option as well, and it would cost them like 2 cents more to print on both sides, and they print on both sides of faces all the time, so I know LEGO can do this, and they really should have done it for this set. Alright, now back to the build. So before we move on to bags 3 and 4, here's what we get for bags 1 and 2. We'll look at all these details later. Basically we get this terrain build, the minifigure, this particular alien, this buggy, and this piece here that I don't know where it goes. I don't see it anywhere on the box. So either it goes on the buggy, or maybe it's meant to be like a standalone thing, or you might put it on top of the terrain for transmission, so up to you. And now on to the next 2 bags. Alright, so my strategy has been to take all the pieces from bag 3, the loose pieces, and try to sort them out into one of these 5 remaining aliens, like in these piles here, so that it makes it easier for me to recreate them, at least partially. Then I'll add the stuff from bag 4. Actually, because there's only such a small number of pieces, I'll just add the stuff from bag 4 right now. I'll put it in this pile here so you can see where it came from, and we'll just finish the builds. I have to go get my brick separator for this, which is unfortunately not included in the set, so you'll have to get this one separately, or just use one from your existing collection. Alright, we're done with the build, so this one piece here. It's not immediately obvious where this goes, so I'm going to check to see. I see where it goes just from here, or from the very last step. And yes, the piece is not an accident, it's supposed to be in here. Yeah, I just don't see where that piece goes, but I do see that that pole goes here, clipped onto that yellow thing. So let's do that at least. Let's start with this cart since I have it in my hand. It's very simple. It's done in the classic space colors of gray, blue, and trans yellow, which is always good to see. It rolls smoothly. It's very lightweight, very simple. Uses minimal number of pieces because that's not the main focus of the set. Of course, the buggy is intended for this classic space minifigure. Can they touch the handlebars? Barely. So it's not quite perfect, but it's close enough. Yeah, so you can see it. They can touch the handlebars, but they can't really grab onto them. At least with the current design. You'd have to redesign this if you want that. There's space for the air tanks here. And this is what it looks like from all around with the figure inside. Again, very simple build. These wheels are hard plastic, but they're sufficient for this kind of build, and the thing does move forward and back, just like some of the tiniest trains that LEGO does, like as gifts with purchase, for example. So this does work, and it's good to get. Moving on, we have this small, tiny piece of terrain. We have this tree here. It's done in a strange shape. This black tree here is a throwback to the earliest trees that LEGO did, which were done in black because they didn't have all these fancy colors. They didn't have nougat or medium tan, I think that's what this is called, or even regular brown. They had none of these colors back in those days. They just had like black, blue, gray, yellow, and even green. They didn't have that until much later on. So this whole build is like a mix of old and new. You do get here like this, like the ends of the tree are done in these wacky colors, which fit the alien environment seen in other sets from LEGO City Space, for example. You get these wonderful opalescent, transparent magenta or dark pink leaves. Just look at those. They're very beautiful to look at when the light hits them. There's a mix of blue and green and purple in there. It just looks so nice. And we actually got two of them. We got another one here. We have like this small little, like 2 blades of grass growing here. We have this wonderful energy crystal. We've seen this before in other sets, but it's nice to get one here. I wish they would have thrown in a couple more, just so that we could put one here, put one on the buggy, for example. And speaking of the buggy, there's no place really to put it here. Or I wish they would have added like one more stud where you could plug this in. Let's actually take one of these extra pieces, do it here. Yeah, problem solved. So yeah, I'm not going to critique them for this because you could do this. Color's a little bit off, but you know, it's LEGO, it's fine. So if you want to recharge this thing using super crystals, well, now you can. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so here's a final look at this terrain build from all angles. And top view, bottom view. No one cares about the bottom of this thing. Alright, now let's look at the monsters or the aliens one by one in the order that is shown on the box. So starting with this one first. I'm not going to describe every single piece that you see here because it's fairly self-explanatory, but I'll just point out the most important parts. So I'm noticing that a lot of these aliens have feet or things that look like feet as well as hands. They all have at least one eye, which is printed in all cases. There are no stickers in this set, by the way. And all the aliens also have at least one of these foliage pieces. So these aliens are like a hybrid of plant and animal. I wonder if they're friendly or enemies. Well, you or your kid can decide that, so that's pretty cool. I don't like the color gapping here, like the way that all these colors are showing. Maybe I built this wrong because I did this just from the box without looking at the instructions, so maybe there's some piece that I misplaced and this is supposed to go here to cover it. So in that case, it's my bad, but if this is what they intended, then this does not look good. All these colors here are mixed up from the back, but from the front, it looks okay. Again, this brown here, or this tan, doesn't look great in my opinion. Like, because basically we have like green, green, tan, green, green. Doesn't make sense to me, but it's not a huge deal. You can easily modify this and swap some pieces around if you care about that kind of thing. And again, I have to keep in mind it's a 7+ set, it's a kid's play set and not a display model for adults. So all these are secondary to me, but it's an okay build. The second one I have is this one here. This one to me looks a bit better. Looks more natural, more alive, and I guess a huge part of it is these hands. Like if you look at it, it's like it wants to give you a big hug, opening its hands out very wide like that, and it looks like it's literally plant-based with this foliage piece here and this leaf around the back. It's nice to get this leaf in this color. So this one, and look at it, it's just 1x2 for the most part. So you're doing a lot of good here with very little pieces. I like this one. The third one is the king or queen of the alien base, judging by this crown. This one also looks good to me. The difference in color here indicates that this is some kind of royalty, a royal figure. Also, I didn't point this out earlier, but a lot of these aliens have these spider web pieces as part of their design, so that's interesting and noteworthy. I would not have expected this piece to be used in an alien design, especially in white, but it does work, and it does tie a bunch of these together. Again, this one also has things that look like hands, and some foliage pieces around the back. This also uses minimal pieces to get the job done, and it's the first to use, of the ones that I'm talking about, to use these to have 3 eyes instead of 1 with this printed piece here that we've seen before in Lego City. It also has hands, but I feel like these hands are way towards the back. I would have preferred to see these hands maybe up front. Let me see if I can do that switch real quick. Yeah, I personally think this looks a little bit better. What do you think? Because now the hands are more in line with the front, and this thing has these pieces for legs and a tail that is adjustable. The 5th one looks like a ground-headed creature, same printed piece for the eyes. It has like these feet or roots, however you want to interpret it, and this thing here reminds me of like some cornfield or some other plant, so it's really vegetation heavy. And the fact that it's so low to the ground, it has like a wider profile than the others, makes it unique. Finally, we have this thing that looks like a dog, at least to me, or an elephant. It has these like, weird hodgepodge of parts, once again, part animal, part plant, and I like the use of the palisade brick here to represent the front legs. That's good to see. Overall, I think this set is a success. For $15 or $19 Canadian, I think this is a good deal. You do get a good amount of stuff here. Most people are going to get the set for the minifigure and the classic space buggy, and this could have been a poly bag. I wish they would have released just this as a poly bag, since a lot of people want to army build these classic space minifigures. But as a build overall, you're not wasting your money by getting all these pieces, because you get this nice terrain build. It fits well with stuff from Lego City, Lego Friends, etc. in the space theme. You also get these cute little aliens that could be used standalone, and I would take these as just suggestions of what's possible to do with these pieces. You could of course take these apart and rebuild them your own way. You could combine them all to like one big space monster. It's really up to you and your imagination. So I like that this opens the door to that. So I think we've taken a sufficient look at this set. Let's look at the next set in the series and then we'll compare them. The 40716 Alien Planet Habitat is focused more on the terrain and less on aliens, although there's still a few. But unfortunately, there's no minifigure in this one. The box art looks quite nice though, with an emphasis on these shiny pieces that we saw earlier. And look, this is so much easier than the push tabs. Just cut the tape. Boom, done. So in this box, we got these 2 pieces here. They're not part of any bag. We got 4 numbered bags. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We do get this instruction manual that I will not be using. There's no QR code in the front, so you cannot scan this one either for getting those points. Here is the part list, and this is what you end up building. I do see here an ad for the 40715 that we just built. Alright, let's get started with bag 1. I think I'm going to open bag 2 now, just to get more of the required pieces that I need here. I'll just put the extra pieces that I know are extra over here so I don't use them accidentally unless I need them later. Taking a quick pause here just to point out all the different greens in Lego's portfolio. So if someone ever tells you something is green in Lego, they're probably talking about this one in the middle. Otherwise, you can always specify which green do you mean, because as you can see, they're fairly different. Again, I'm using a brick separator to separate these pieces, but this is not included in the set. The rest of the build is not clear just from those 2 angles, so I'll rely on this 3rd angle here from the instructions, and if none of that is sufficient, I'll just improvise the rest. Oh, and I just realized before getting into bags 3 and 4 that this stray piece here is actually part of the alien. You can see that at the back of the box right here. Alright, we're good to go. Alright, we're done with the build for this set as well. Let's have a quick look. So we have 2 pieces of terrain, 3 aliens, 0 minifigures. Let's start with the aliens. This one is built first, it's the largest. It's the only one to use ball joints to have maximum flexibility. So depending on that, you can make this look totally different. Like this is a very different look from this. Like it goes from being a turtle to being a giraffe, or, the alien equivalent of those. The head can swivel all around, even look backwards, make this be the front of it. Yeah, so there's actually like this look better because there's no undersides, no anti-studs, and you don't really see the ball joints from this angle, so this might actually be a more successful look. The legs at the, well, I'll switch it back to the way it is by default. These legs are adjustable, they splay in and out, they go up and down, so you can actually make it do various poses, but unfortunately it's let down by the lack of any real hind legs. You'd need to add your own pieces, basically similar to these, to make it more of a like animal kind of thing. So by default, you could just raise it up a little bit like this. Even this works. Okay, that's not too bad, but I would have preferred if they added some real legs here. It would cost them very little to add those pieces. But overall, it's okay, and we have this nice plant stalk at the back. The next alien's a lot smaller, a lot simpler, and we can see clearly the claw piece here that's used for part of the face detail, so that's some nice art usage. We do see here it has, just like the other one, a horn at the top, and this is not the glow-in-the-dark green, it's just the standard spring green. It has a single printed eye, just like this one, and this one has 2 feet instead of 3. This one has 3 feet, and yeah, it's the simplest of the bunch, and it has these cow horns recolored to magenta from the rear, which is an interesting and different look. There's a closer look at this, not figure, but alien. Well, I suppose I'll give you a close-up of this one as well. And you've already seen this mold many times already from other sets, but here it is in detail in case you haven't. Yeah, from the top, it's a nice look when we don't see these gray pieces that much. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Although again, on the top, it's very obvious that they should have put more stuff here. For the terrains, we build 2 of them. This is the one that's built first if you follow the order of the bags. It's mostly a dry terrain, with some weird plants growing here. These trees, again black, just like the ones in the previous set. We get 2 of these opalescent pieces in the magenta, transparent magenta with the shiny bluish hue to it. Again, very nice to see. Since this is a terrain build, I wish they would have included even more of those. Though can't complain too much at this price. We do get this energy crystal, just 1 here, and we get 2 in the other one. So this is mine. And these trees are adjustable. You can adjust their angle to suit your needs and preferences. We do see here these crops growing in some kind of pattern formation, so maybe this is an allusion to farming. Maybe these aliens actually have an organized farm here and they eat this plant or something. You can imagine it however you want. For this one, it's a more colorful build. The base of it is largely symmetrical, like this side versus this side. It's only once you get to the top and the trees that on this side there's these purple colored leaves and flowers, and here it's more pink, light pink, and hot pink or dark pink. So very similar. We see here like some indication of what looks like water over here. So that's pretty interesting to see. And 2 energy crystals, 1 here, 1 here. So this is an interesting build. And this teal here could represent some kind of fungi or moss or something. So I think this is a successful build. It's fun to put together in a symmetrical way. I don't know if that's what the instructions tell you to, but I hope they tell you to do that because that was very satisfying to me. Yeah, so this looks nice. Here are the terrains put together. I'll remove the box and the bags just to clean this area up a bit. So here's the set in its entirety in context. So we have these 3 aliens and the 2 terrains. And because these are large pieces, and in general the price per piece ratio is okay, I think you get good value out of this set. It would have been amazing if the set also included a minifigure. Like all this stuff plus 1 minifigure. It doesn't need to have a vehicle or super fancy accessories or anything like that. Just 1 standard Lego Classic Space minifigure. Let's say like this one, for example, make it a different color just to differentiate. But like if they had included this minifigure here or something similar to it, then this would have been an amazing deal. Without the minifigure, it's still cool, but yeah, I just wish they would have included 1. Now, you can put the aliens here to play or do their business. Like, you can't really make this one. You can't attach this one anywhere except on corners because of the nature of his feet. And this one has the same issue. You can't really attach it to anything. Maybe that's by design. Maybe they don't want kids attaching this, and then when they take it off, it breaks off like this. So maybe they intentionally chose this. I won't say this is a negative thing, but it's just something to keep in mind if you do get the set. So yeah, and the aliens do fit through this narrow ravine, the smaller ones at least. a large one. Let's see if they can fit through. Not quite. They're gonna have to like waddle a little bit to get over it, or maybe they can fly, or they can just jump. It would have been easier to jump if they had hind legs. I know, and I'll keep repeating that again and again. Like, why? Like, you went all the way to give us these nice adjustable legs on this side, but not on this side. Or you basically have to flip it like this. Right now, these are the hind legs. It's just coming through and it jumps. Okay, so if you use your imagination a little bit, you can make that work. Well, flip this, yeah. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, I find this terrain to be more interesting just because it has more colors, but this one is good too. It's more muted, with the exception of these pieces here that stand out a lot. So, and of course you can adjust this. You can take these pieces over here, modify this to your liking. But these two, I think, go really well together, and with the others. So I rearranged items from both sets into one scene. It's basically a family photo of aliens, like in front of this terrain, and you can imagine there's even more copies like all throughout the land. I'll just spread this out a little bit more to create more visual interest. Yeah, and then we have this space explorer who comes in on a spaceship, not included, and is here to meet with this alien nation and learn their language, learn about their culture, and maybe sign a peace treaty with them so that they don't invade Earth, however you want to imagine it. So yeah, nice inclusion to have this classic space minifigure with all of this stuff in that particular set. So this is what you get for those two sets. Now, if I ask a similar question, is this worth $30 US or 38 Canadian? I'd say the answer is yes. Like, there's definitely enough stuff here. It's enough stuff to get you started, and it's enough stuff that you can mix and match. You can combine all these terrain builds into one. You can combine all the aliens into different forms. Like, these just give you various ideas of what you can do. Like, I would rob some pieces from the other aliens just to give this guy some hind legs or front legs to make him more useful. So yeah, there's definitely lots of possibilities here. And the reason why LEGO made these sets, I believe, is to integrate with all their other space themed sets. Now, I put a bunch of all those sets together in one cohesive scene. I put a little bit of thought into this to tell a cohesive story, and here it is. So first of all, we have the alien space diner on this alien planet that's surrounded by the usual terrain for the area. We have the alien chef, as well as a sous chef, which just means junior chef. And there's also alien kids who are here to help around or just be at the restaurant and have a good time. The jukebox is playing some really nice tunes that everyone is enjoying. And we have the fake classic space minifigures with updated face prints over here. They're sitting and having a drink. So they're not actually classic space, but they're cosplaying classic space. This is an actual classic space minifigure who is there smiling, just taking it all in. We have another OG classic space coming in on their space buggy. They're going to place their order soon. And here, this guy is going to present this sandwich to one of them. They already have their smoothies. So we have here the other parent of the aliens just supervising, making sure no one gets into any trouble. And here we have the flying saucer costume fan. He came from planet Earth, and he's amazed to see all the aliens on this planet. On the other hand, the alien tourist, who's not really a tourist because this is his planet, and he's just taking pictures of the human-built structures, like this alien space lab, which was recently constructed by the classic space minifigures for use by the newer generation. So that's various generations all that work together. We do have here the Mtron powerlifter. He's exercising in this other piece of terrain. He's working out really hard, you can see from his face. And then finally, we have here, these two minifigures are acting out a scene to entertain all the kid aliens that are surrounding them. So here, Benny is crying that he lost his spaceship, and she's being very upset because Benny lost his spaceship. So all the kids are having fun. So yeah, that's a very nice scene to have. The total cost to build all of this is roughly $100 US or $130 Canadian, give or take, and you might be able to find certain things on discount, etc. But that is approximately what this will all cost if you buy from LEGO or another large retailer like Amazon when these things are in stock at their regular retail price or 20% off, something like that. So that's what you could expect. So I do think this is a lot of play value for $100. You have some very interesting characters, very interesting minifigures and aliens just to spice things up a bit. So yeah, I'm really happy to get the alien pack sets. They're really good to get. They add vibrancy to the scene. If I just take out all the terrains, the scene would be a lot simpler, but it would lose a lot of the visual interest that it has. So I'm happy that we have this terrain here, and of course all the aliens that really adds value to the scene compared to just having only this structure here and just this one tree that comes with it. Also, one of the things that LEGO will never tell you, because they can't, is that their other space-related theme, which is Star Wars, is kind of compatible with these terrains as well. The colors are a little bit off, especially like in this case, but I still think that with just some modifications, you can make this totally work. Your Star Wars mock. You want to mock especially the drier planets, yeah, it doesn't look too bad. So if you want to do Lego Star Wars on a budget, you don't want to pay the Star Wars tax, you can get a bunch of these sets cheaper, build out your terrain, take out all the funky colors that you don't want to see, and then you can basically use that for your Star Wars display model. I think these sets are a success. Their prices are reasonable. They add to your Lego space scene without costing an arm and a leg, and you can buy multiple copies if you're interested in having more aliens or more terrain. And they cost the same price, so it makes it easy to decide, oh, I want more of this or more of this, depending on what you're interested in the most. And if you buy these either on discount or when there's gifts with purchase, you can get additional stuff on top, like this poly bag, for example. So I was able to get this poly bag by buying these sets here. So yeah, I think these sets are a success. Very minor nitpicks I have, like this thing does not have proper hind legs, and this minifigure could have been a little bit better. I would have preferred if they made it like a true classic space instead of changing the face print and the air tanks. I think they should have kept it completely classic. And I would have liked to see an additional minifigure here. Like if they take away one alien and put a minifigure in its place, I think that would have been a worthy swap, in my opinion, just because we already get so many aliens in this one. So what do you think about these sets? Are you going to get any of them? Comment down below. Thank you so much for tuning into Versatile Fun Designs, and I'll see you all in the next one.